You're on the Six Screens Telenetwork, earning the reputation of giving all the right ingredients, uninhibited, in exposing the hard, cold facts about the Watchtower Society.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome in to our Six Screens Telenetwork tonight. Our first program tonight on the network is Anne Marie, coming out of Northern California, and she has a program called Touched by the Tentacles of the Watchtower. So she's on here tonight, and tonight she's going to be talking about circuit overseers. And you all had a circuit overseer, right? I know you all had one if you're one of Jehovah's Witnesses. Now, some of them were good, some of them were bad. We all have stories to tell about the circuit overseer, whether it be even his wife. Maybe you've got some stories to say about or talk about about Jehovah's Witness circuit overseer wives. So Anne Marie's coming in. We also have Susan Farron coming in as well to work along with Anne Marie tonight. So hello, Anne Marie.
Hello, my brother Rick. How's everything over there in cool Massachusetts?
Oh, it is cool, Massachusetts. Things are starting to cool down, but yeah. So anyways, we're moving in the right direction. The program sounds good tonight. I know there's a lot of people out there that do have a lot to say about circuit overseers. So maybe they'll be able to come in and join you tonight.
Well, I really look forward to it because, it's one of our favorite go-to subjects because, we've all had those memories of experiencing at least two. Most of us have experienced at least having two circuit overseers. Many of us had many more, having grown up in the organization, maybe because we moved or they moved or whatever. And there are a lot of experiences. And I myself have a few, and I'm anxious and looking forward to hearing your memories as well, and perhaps Susan's and anyone else who would like to share. Because, when we would be sitting in that Kingdom Hall on a Thursday evening during the service meeting, and we would first hear that announcement, well, the Circuit Overseer's visit is coming up. I think every one of us had and we would get a little bit tense, like a kind of a, like Mama's coming home. Is our house in order? You're just, it's like, you want to get ready and be on your best behavior. And it was funny. I don't think I'm the only one. I think we all felt that way, and we were always on our best behavior and a little nervous during the visit, and better go out and service. Is my time up? Oh my God, I better get my time in. And well, what if he wants to open and look at my study, whatever. Anyway, I didn't mean to go on, but the circuit overseer's visit definitely had us a little nervous. What do you think?
Well, absolutely, we all would.
You too, huh?
I'm sorry?
Well, I want to welcome everyone in. I forgot. Oh, hi.
I don't think
Hi,
Rick knows that. I don't think Rick knows that he can't. He's not being heard because I can hear him. And I go in a different room, so we get a good cross section of the sound. But yeah, I agree with you. As soon as I heard the word circuit overseer, I get nervous. And then I think, well, then I have to, what meals am I going to have to feed them? And I'm going to have to make sure I get out and service more often. Because there are always, like, if anyone has a Bible study, make sure you sign up the circuit overseer's wife for it. She would go on all the studies, and hopefully she wouldn't have to go door to door at all. So I thought they tried to arrange it in my anyway.
Yeah, I forgot to welcome everybody, and I just want to welcome all listeners in on Six Screen Saturday on September 24th, 2020. It is the last Six Screen Saturday of September 2022. We won't have another Six Screen Saturday in September until 2023. Can you imagine that? Our next Six Screen Saturday will be October 1st. And you know how the organization was always kind of hinting, if not saying directly, that October was a very significant month. We'd always get really nervous in the month of October because things were bound to happen in the month of October. So This is the last Six Green Saturday of September, and welcome everyone in. We want to, we're kind of thinking of talking about circuit overseers, anything you can remember about anything to do with circuit overseers life, stories, experiences, how you felt when you knew the circuit overseer's visit was pending, how you felt during the circuit overseer's visit. Did you feel sense of relief when you knew they moved on and now another congregation got them? There was something. Does anybody want to comment? Please feel free, *6, share your experience or your thoughts. Are you there, Rick?
I'm right here, Anne Marie. I mean, I'll be the icebreaker here. So I will get the ball rolling. And anyways, circuit overseers, do I remember them? Yes, I do. I remember good ones. I remember bad ones. And I really have to tell you that there were some pretty good ones that I liked. And there were some that I did not like. I found some of them to be very controlling. I mean, to the point of really too much. I can remember being in one congregation, Brother Owen Hudson. That was his name when I was living in Florida. And Owen was just a control freak. And I remember we all met for service like we did at the Kingdom Halls. You guys did it too when the circuit overseer came. And we had a really big group that day. We had about 50 people. This would have been back in the 1980s. We had about 50 people show up for service. And, you know, what he did was he just automatically started saying, okay, all those who were driving a car, stand up and go to the back of the hall. All right, so I was a car driver, so I went up. And so now he's saying, okay, you're going to be working with Brother Ferrin. You're going to be working with Brother Smith. You're going to be working with Brother McDougall. And I mean, he was assigning people to work with people. You know, some people already had assignments all worked out, or the day all worked out who they're going to work with. But he says, no, you're going to be working with him. You're going to be working with him. But my wife, who was having, you know, seizures at the time and difficulties, I mean, she wasn't having a seizure that day, but I had to be with her to keep an eye on her. And sure enough, I mean, she's putting Inez, my former wife, in a different car group. So I said, Brother Owen, you know, I'm sorry, but, you know, I have to keep an eye on my wife because of her health conditions. But, you know, it didn't seem like he liked me saying that. But, you know, some of them were controlling, others were good, but people really thought he was something else. And I'll tell you another thing that really disturbed me. We had two congregations meeting in that Kingdom Hall I was going to. And so one day out in service, I dropped my wife off and she told me this story. So there was a sister, there was only one person showing up from the other congregation. So the sister didn't know what to do. There was nobody in her congregation. So she figured she'd just go out with the congregation that had a few people there. And the circuit overseer said, well, you really can't do that. Where's your elders? How come they're not out in service? And he says, you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to go out with your own group. And the sister started crying. And my wife related that story to me. And I'm saying, what a madman. Gee, if nobody showed up in her hall and she wanted to go out with the other congregation, so be it. But he had to make such a big deal about it. And the poor sister broke down crying. So, you know, kind of an ugly side to the circuit overseers. I've got more to say, but let's see what anybody else has to say, Anne-Marie.
Well, I love that story. If anybody wants to comment or add to what Rick was saying, please feel free. Otherwise, I'm interested to hear what other things Rick might have to say. Feel free, *6.
Hi, Anne-Marie, it's Roland. You're right.
Hi, Roland.
You're right. Yeah, I just listened to what Rick said, and I can fully back him up. I mean, we had similar situations. We had people from other congregations come, and they said exactly the same to them. You should go out with your own congregation. And I used to think, well, what's it matter? It's the ministry. And it was actually a circuit overseer that put me off the ministry in the end, because I went out with him one day, and we went to a door. He says, you can do this door. So I did the door, and, you know, we had quite a good conversation with the householder. I used a scripture out of the Bible, my Bible in my hand. I used a scripture out of the Bible, and I ended up giving them a Watchtower and got a return visit out of it. So they said I could go back. So I thought, great. I was like trying to impress, and I did. So I thought. Anyway, we got down the path, and I looked at him, and he says, "What could you have done better?" And I said, "Well, to be honest with you, brother, I've done quite well. I thought I'd done everything I could." I said, I used the scripture, I gave him a Watchtower, we had a conversation, I got a return visit. What I don't understand. And he said, instead of saying all that from the Bible, he said, you could have just sent them to jw.org, because at that point we was just starting to introduce them to that, and I just thought, oh, well, that's it then, I'm a walking app, so... No, and after that, I just lost interest. It was just like, no. I was putting in hours at that point, and then I just suddenly thought, no, that's it. That's me done. So I just hardly went out then, So, and it was after that I started noticing other stuff as well, So, so it was actually circuit over. I mean, like Rick said, there were some good ones. I did get on well with some of them actually, and. They weren't too bad, but some were very domineering and very rude at times, very arrogant, So anyway, that's all I'm going to say. I'm going to let other people have a chance to comment. So just thought I'd chip in there with that.
Well,
okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that example, Roland. Here you are, a sincere man in the Watchtower, really trying to be a spiritual person, trying to reach a person at the door spiritually with God's word. And then this guy's totally critiquing you because you need to be a good company man, towing the party line. And good for you for pointing it out.
Yeah, and I just thought, no more. That's it. I'm done. If I can't use the Bible, then I'm just not going to bother, because to me, that's not ministry. It's not. How are you? It just makes you look stupid, because you go to the door, and then they ask you a question, you direct them to an app. It makes you look like you don't know your own religion, which most of them don't, to be honest now, because they're so used to going to this app. The circuit overseer was really pushing it at the time, and he just didn't like it because I didn't sort of go along with his method, So, but anyway, I'll let other people chip in, because I'm sure a few people are going to have things to say on this. So, anyway, take care, Amory. Take care.
And you as well. Thank you so much for sharing, Roland. Is there anyone that would like to comment or share their thoughts? Star 6.
Yeah, hello, Anne-Marie.
Hi. How are you, Ken?
Doing? Oh, not too bad.
Okay.
Taking it one day at a time, but so forth. Yeah, I have a question now before I make any more comments. Can you describe in the Watchtower Society what is this circuit overseer or whatever?
Well, all I remember in the old days, the entire world, the map of the world of Jehovah's Witnesses was divided into sections. And there was, say you have, there's so many, let's just say start from big. There are so many zones. Those were your biggest sections. And in every zone was divided up into districts. And every district had so many circuits. Now, each circuit had so many congregations. So when you think of from a Kingdom Hall congregation up, one Kingdom Hall might have one or two, even sometimes three when things got crazy, congregations meeting in one Kingdom Hall. So you might have, 5 or 6 or 7 or more Kingdom Hall or congregations in one circuit. And then you might have so many circuits in a zone, in a district. So that's why you had your meetings, you had your circuit assemblies, then you had your district assemblies, which were made up of all the circuits in the district. And then every once in a while you had your international assemblies, which composed of everybody. But as we all know now, so many Watchtower rights have been leaving that they don't even want to deal with districts anymore, because there aren't that many circuits in one district anymore. So they had to reword their stuff and call one area, what do they call it, a region. So it can be small or big, and they just think it's a new way of looking at things. No, it's just a way to cover up how much the rank and file membership is shrinking. Thank you, Ken.
Oh, I got another comment too to make here a little bit like that. Well, according to the vast majority of Christianity churches, there, and according to the Roman Church writings in the so-called Bible, whatever and everything like that, there is only two places that mentions overseer. That's a presbyter and everything like that. But then the intent there was that the person is an overseer. He has to go according to the book. Regarding his authority, he has to go according to the book. The word circuit overseer does not appear in the Christianity Bible any place whatsoever. But yeah, this is something that's pretty deep and pretty confusing. It makes you wonder if, well, I'm not going to understand it without a course in it and all that. And then I don't think I'll understand it at that, so forth. Okay, just one last comment here. I have not been able to get a hold of Jay lately. I kind of lost touch with him. But as soon as I get a little time on my hands here, I'm going to make every effort to try to get in touch with him again via the nursing home.
Hey, Ken? I want to thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Hey, Ken?
Yes?
Yeah, this is Trey. Those circuit overseers, they're supposed to come down about every 6 months on every congregation. And it's kind of like when he shows up, it's a big event. It's a one event every 6 months. And all the elders, I got to have all their territories in line, all the publishers' cards. They have a little meeting, and all the dots and the T's aren't crossed. Somebody's got a problem. It's like a report card when he comes to them. They look at the time, everybody's time, everything. They look at it, and that's where they make the appointments for the not circuit overseers, but ministerial servants, which would be a deacon, and then you'd have an overseer, which would be an elder, what they would call an elder. All that's done every 6 months. So it's just a report card, and then he makes a report. He sends in the report to the society, to mother, to make sure everything's cool. And then
sounds like religious bureaucracy to me. So yeah, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, they used to do the same thing with the district overseers. They had a district, not a circuit, which was bigger. And then he would report on all the circuits, give his 2 cents on the 2 circuits, on all the circuits, But usually a circuit has about 13 to 15, 16 congregations, something like this.
Yeah, okay, well, I appreciate the information and so forth. I don't think I'll ever understand it. But yeah, just like I mentioned earlier, sounds like a bunch of bureaucracy to me, or religious bureaucracy of religion to me. That's a good way to put it and so forth. And well, we'll take the next caller here.
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to comment, if I can jump in 1 second, Ken. Thank you. You brought up. Thank you. You brought up about the Bible not having the word overseer and all that, and I think that's a good point. And the whole thing that they claim authority over us. The Watchtower is very good at using the scriptures and manipulating them to make them seem like the scriptures are backing up their way. They use 2 scriptures to back up their way of having order, and everything has to be organized. First of all, 1 Corinthians 14:33 says in the New World Translation that God is not a God of disorder, but of peace. So in other words, they're saying, well, God's a God of order. We must have order, or else there's no peace. But further, they use James 3:16, which says in the New World Translation, there is disorder in every vile thing. So those 2 scriptures basically back up. I mean, they never really say it too much, but if they need to, they do. They back up the fact that everything must be in order. Everything must be orderly and organized and in unity, or else, because God is a God of not of disorder, but of peace. Thank you for letting me speak, Ken. I appreciate it. Go ahead. Anybody else?
I got one more comment here. I just want to clarify one thing. The word presbyter is mentioned twice in the Bible. That means, in the Christianity Bible, that means overseer, but it does not mean bureaucracy of religious bureaucracy and excessive authority over people and everything like that. As a matter of fact, the authority of the presbyter or the overseer is supposed to be regulated by the book. But just by listening to you right now, the Watchtower Society is far from going by the book whatsoever.
Right. Well, let's get back on track. We're going to try to really explore people's our ex-brothers and sisters in the Watchtower, ex-members. All of us have those memories, those little times where we were either enjoying a circuit overseer, maybe we had a nice interaction with a circuit overseer, maybe a circuit overseer's wife was kind to us or rude to us. All of us have some memories, and I'm really asking all of the listeners to the show today to kind of dig into those memory banks and see if you can remember a little something like Susan has mentioned, when she thought of the circuit overseer's visit coming up, her first thought, or one of her first thoughts was, oh my goodness, because everybody expected her to do so much, cook for them, be the good hostess, ever the gracious, smiling hostess, because that's what Susan's good at. And boy, did she get used. And just everybody has their own thing. If Susan doesn't want to comment further, somebody else feel free, jump in, *6, please, share a memory. Okay, go ahead.
I was thinking too, there isn't any people that you meet. You're going to like some and dislike others. And I think with every circuit or district servant that we have a story. There were some that were very decent people, and if they were Jehovah's, even if they were not Jehovah's Witnesses, they probably would have been decent people. But they were big on titles, like pioneer and elder and ministerial servant. And the circuit overseer was there to actually discuss who he thought should be new elders and new ministerial servants, and even if someone should be a pioneer or not. So circuit overseers, I think we forget sometimes how much authority they really had with the whole congregations of the circuit. I think you said, was it 13 or 15 that they had? And if that's twice a year, that's like at least, everyone at least twice a year plus vacation. And we all expected for them to have words of wisdom. But I remember one circuit overseer who I had twice, once in Milwaukee, once in Chicago. In Milwaukee, I came from 50% of the people in the territory were Jewish. So when I was in the Chicago congregation, someone raised their hand and asked the circuit overseer, I have a Jewish return visit, what should I say to them? And he returned to me and said, why don't you ask me, Susan, what to say to them, because she would be better at it. And I'm like, wait a minute, that guy was CO for her whole district. I mean, the whole circuit, he should know that. And I was actually looking forward to getting some words of wisdom from him, but it wasn't coming. So sometimes we think they're these big special deals, but they're nothing really.
Yeah. Just as a side thought, I remember, if I can say this real quick, anybody interrupt me anytime, but, there were always some petty, stupid things that we were getting judged on that wasn't necessarily a rule. Remember, some poor sweet sister was very poor, newly married, trying so hard to make her house. Well, actually, it was a little tiny apartment she shared with her hardworking husband. And she was trying so hard to make things look nice. And she found this old dresser at the Goodwill, and she sanded it down. And, I guess they were going to have a baby or something. And she sanded it down, and she painted it white. And she painted little hearts and flowers. And it really came out so cute. And a sister came over not long after she had painted it, and they were having coffee, and the sister who had painted the stressor that she had found showed it to the sister who came to visit, you know, like, oh, look what I did. I'm so proud of how it came out. It came out better than I thought it was. And this sister was like, oh, my God, you have hearts on that dresser. And the sister was like, well, what's wrong? Don't you know that that's tied up with Saint Valentine, and that's paganism, and do. And she was so upset she left, and she goes and complains to her husband, and her husband complained to the elder, and the elder talked to the circuit overseer who was visiting apparently that week. And somebody came back and told her that she had stumbled the sister, and she needed to take those hearts off. And the poor thing was crying. And then later, the same sister, if I remember my stories correctly, remember, I have been at a long time. If I remember correctly, this same sister who got so stumbled over hearts on a dresser had wind chimes on her balcony. Wind chimes, which were so bad. At the time in the Awake, it was told that they were so bad. You couldn't have wind chimes because they were supposed to scare away demons. But that was okay. Well, it didn't bother her conscience, so that was okay. Oh, my goodness. Can we get back to judgment and having authority to enforce our own personal judgment? Amazing. I'm sorry to go on like that. Anybody feel free.
Hey, Anne-Marie. Yeah, I've got a story.
Go ahead, dear, and the sister after you, okay?
Okay.
Go ahead,
All right.
brother. Yeah.
All right, well, I just had a shepherding call. And, well, you know, it was mostly with, helping old sisters and stuff that were being ignored by the elders. But I thought that was going to be the big one where they're going to kick me out. Anyway, but the CEO was there. That was the one, and they wanted me to come to the hall. So I was like, crap, this is like in Star Wars where the Lance is saying, Orlando is saying it's getting worse all the time. That's how it was. Like, oh, so you're not coming here. Oh, the CEO's coming. Ugh. Anyway, turned out it actually was legitimate. They were wondering how we were doing, and that we'd been bending over backwards to help old sisters that are kind of being ignored. But the thing was that we had a fall recently, like a week before, just before the CEO came over. And I have some medical training, but I'm crippled, so I can't really lift anybody. So I had to run around the hall trying to round up people to help this sister, within the means, do the checks, make sure they didn't hit their head, stuff like that. And she turned out fine, although she's now using a cane, which she should have been in the first place, whatever. But anyway, I was telling, we were sitting there to the CEO, and I said, we really need to have the attendants and the brothers know what to do when a sister is fallen over. And of course my overseer, service overseer, actually lied a bit. He said, oh yeah, I helped her up, and no, he didn't. He ran over there, and then he stood there like a slack-jawed idiot. Anyway, but, that's typical. But the thing was that I was saying we need, maybe we could get some transfer boards to help, because this isn't the first time it's come up. Before, it's been like we come there with sisters that, need to be in wheelchairs and stuff, or are having problems and need help transferring, and I'm crippled, so it's a little bit more difficult for me, but, we've got these able-bodied guys who do lumberjacking and stuff, and they just sit there by the door, these brothers, staring at the monitors and whatnot, and it's like half the time I have to yell at them, saying, hey, help me here. Help this sister get into this car. And I decided to tell them, I said, we really need to train the attendants and the elders on what to do to help these brothers and sisters, that are having more walking problems, walking difficulties, loading them up in the cars, helping them what to do if they fall down, I know usually I keep trying to say, oh, help them up, but, it's like, there are procedures and steps that you do. You don't just lift them up. Most of the time you call an ambulance if they can't get up on their own. But the thing was that he said, I said, hey, can we get some transfer boards? I explained to him, the sash. I even drew diagrams. I had a notepad with me because, again, I thought it was going to be a kicking out session. And, of where to stand and diagrams on what to do to help people, who are having ambulatory issues and stuff. And I told them, you can just go down to the firehouse, any firehouse, and they'll give you free training on first aid and all this stuff. And I said that I think we need to have our attendants do that. Maybe get a backup wheelchair in here or transfer board or, a lifting harness or something. The strap or the belt. I think it's been a while. But he said, "Oh no, that's just too infeasible." And I'm like, here we are. They're building up halls next to us. Then they've got the big studio thing. But this guy, he's just a complete corporate clown. He's like, hell yeah, sure. We won't blow, $450 on a provisional wheelchair that we might need. Who knows? But, that's more important to save that money than it is to have a sister fall and die or fall and get crippled and get an infection, all the horrible things, a horrible downturn in life, because that's what happens when you fall sometimes, then to keep that wad of cash. So I didn't like that at all. And he was a nice guy otherwise, but it's like, rubber meets the road. He's not really interested in helping people or the sisters. Take that sound.
Well, you can call 911 for free, and when you run the numbers according to Watchtower, hey, that works for them. Good point.
Yeah.
Good point. Thank you for sharing that. And using physically challenged, you would understand that help needs to be available.
Yeah, well, the attendants need to do something besides just stand there while, brothers and sisters are actually trying to help, someone in and out of a car, because that's what they do.
Yeah,
they just sit there, Anyway, I'm venting, but that's my story.
Well, I appreciate you bringing that out. I'm wondering if that sister is still there. Was waiting to comment. Sister, are you still there? You were going to comment? Oh, I hope you didn't leave. Okay, anybody else want to hit *6 and share what we're thinking or what this brother was sharing? I think it was important what the last brother just brought out, how, he told the circuit overseer, here we have this issue of potential accidents or falls or needs to assist brothers and sisters who are impaired. We need to have things done. They just sit around and nobody else. We need this, we need that. Oh, yeah, whatever. Yeah, we'll look into that. And he's right. It's all about the money, and they don't really care when, push comes to shove. They just don't care. Anybody have any thoughts or any stories or experiences to share?
My dad, this
Hello.
is Chewy.
Hi, Chewy.
Hey, my dad had one years ago. Some of them are company men, just straight up company men. And then there were some that are just, more reasonable, just like elders, but most of them are company men. The last one that I saw on the platform, he wasn't more than a minion. I mean, he was a robot. You could tell him on the big screen, nothing but a robot. He was definitely a company man. You could pick that out. A blind man could pick that out. But there was an experience back in the 70s. My dad told me they had a big old blow up, because this is Oklahoma. And one elder was saying that you should not wear cowboy boots on stage. And he was pretty firm in it. And there was another brother that said it was all right. And he had a cow farm. And he was a cowboy. So there was a big discussion. And anyway, they come to a conclusion. And they had one of their circuit meetings after the circuit assembly where they all get together, elders meetings or whatever. And the circuit overseer, we've had a little discussion on decor on the platform. What is our policy on cowboy boots? And the brother that was opposed to it, he raised his hand. My dad told me, he said he raised his hand. He says the society's policy is they should be polished. So evidently he was put in this place. But it could just as be easy be another circuit overseer and go the other way and say, oh, no, what? Cowboy, it doesn't say anything about cowboy boots. We need to leave them off the stage, or whatever. So it's, most of them are company men. Most of them are. But anyway, because they get higher up in the hierarchy. They get more indoctrinated and stuff like that. So the higher up you go, the more indoctrinated you get. So that's all I got.
Yeah, personality, low self-esteem, and mix that with power, and you just don't know what you're going to get.
Well, what they used to say in Alcoholics Anonymous is when I came into Alcoholics Anonymous, I was an egomaniac with an inferiority complex. That's the same way. Anyway, that's all I got.
No, that's a good one, Chewy. Thank you for bringing that up. Because I have noted in my life that people most lacking in self-esteem are the most insecure. Not always, but they do tend to be kind of pompous on the outside. Like they seem to spend a lot of energy kind of, I calling it doing that, puffing themselves up like a bird does. And it's like, oh, I'm big stuff. And that's why they have to have the big job and drive the great car and, lord it over other people. But I'm really looking for anyone with actual experiences, which you guys have been sharing, and I really appreciate it. I really admire the couple socialists and sorry, I'm tired. Circuit overseers, I used to really hang on to every word they said. And I just remember that in the 70s, maybe, things greatly changed. But I remember in the 70s, during the circuit overseer's visit, during the week, at some time, there would be a special amount of time, maybe an hour, hour and a half in the afternoon, that the circuit overseer would just set aside for come and let's just be together time. Not casual, but, you could come to the Kingdom Hall, whoever showed up, and, he would just talk about things that, he thought of, and anybody else have anything to say, and it was so relaxing. Does somebody want to comment? Feel free. Somebody have something to say? I hear talking in the background. Hello?
This is, sorry, this is, just want to,
okay, we're not
this
going
is
to
a new caller here.
This is a new caller?
Right.
Oh, go ahead. Well, go ahead. I didn't know if you were talking to somebody else. Go ahead, sweetheart.
Can you do some programs for American Sign Language? I would greatly appreciate it. I think one of the girls you were talking about was a sign language interpreter. I think she also wrote a book about that. The girl who had hearts on the counter.
You're talking about Diane Wilson?
Yes, that's the one.
Yeah, Awakening of a Jehovah's Witness, yes.
And I have contacted her before.
Yeah, she's a nice lady.
Yeah, you might want to bring out American Sign Language awareness to all the XJWs too.
Okay. Yeah, Rick has mentioned the American Sign Language. I don't know. You might want to talk to him on another, time. But that's a great idea. Are you a sign language interpreter?
No, not really. But my family was in sign language. I'm not. I am what you call PMO now, and so
are you kind of active?
I want to bring awareness about the people in sign language idolizing and praising the sign language translating Bethelites.
Right. Okay. Okay, well, there seems to be a lot of time in between each of your sentences, and we're kind of running short. But I want you to stay on the line, or feel free to continue to talk. Is there anything else we can help you with? I understand what you're saying. You must feel very frustrated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
You're feeling? Oh, bless your heart. But have you been chemo for long?
Since about 2016, late.
Oh my goodness. You must have really been going through it.
There's things I find wrong about JW, about the organization that I find inconsistent. Plus, I do have autism, too. That is a very dangerous combination.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, autism is very, very bad when it's mixed with a cult, because autism, you need everything to make sense, and everything to have order, and everything in its place, and everything has to be consistent in that order. So autism functions usually pretty well in a cult. My brother has Asperger's. He's high functioning, and he cannot leave the cult. He's just, that's all he knows. And if you have autism, I take my hat off to you.
My mom's still JW, and so is my older sister, too.
Okay.
I'm trying to not rat myself out.
It's okay, honey. You can't rat yourself out. Let me tell you something. If you listen, if anybody said anything, if they did, how are they going to know it's you? And number one, number two, then they'd have to admit that they're on Rick Barron's 6 screens of the Watchtower. You know, it's the one thing that Watchtower uses, my dear, is fear. And remember that perfect love throws all fear outside. The devil operates on fear. Remember what Jesus said? He said, my peace I give you. I leave you my peace. He is peace. God is love. Watchtower is run by the devil, and it's all about fear. We want you to know you are not alone, sister. You are not alone.
I appreciate that thought.
It's just more than a thought, my love. It's real. Each one of us knows what you're going through. It's horrible. You are in a very sticky, scary, frustrating, where do I go, what do I do situation. I feel for you with all my heart.
If Jehovah's Witnesses are not the true religion, I don't know what is anymore.
Oh, honey, that's just it. You know, look at your Bible in Isaiah chapter 14, starting around, I don't know where, 15 or whatever, where Satan promises, I am going to make myself like you. I'm going to make everybody believe that I'm God, and I'm going to get them to worship me and believe me and to follow me. And just think, just in your mind, just let your imagination run wild. Now, if you were a really evil, very powerful, wicked spirit being, and you wanted to fool hundreds of millions of people into believing that they were Almighty God, well, what would you do? Well, you'd get a name for yourself, and you'd get everybody to think it was so holy, and you'd get them to believe you against the one who said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. And you know what? Your own Bible, you have a New World Translation. Look at John 8:30. What? John 8:12. John 8:1. I'm sorry. John 8:12. John 8:31, 32. John 14:6. There is no way that Jesus died to give you a religion. This is a cult. If you don't believe me, just look up cult. Go to the YouTube. You can do that. Look up Bite Model, BIPE, Bite Model. It'll give you the 5 classic ways to tell a cult is a cult. You're in fear. Your whole life has been taken over because you've been in a cult. And it's not about the true religion. It's all about relationship. Jesus never, ever, ever came to earth to fulfill John 3:16 so that we could join Watchtower or any other religion that had us by the throat. Remember John 3:16 says, for God loved the world so much that he gave his only begotten Son, so that whosoever should bow to the Watchtower, join to the Watchtower, believe the Watchtower, serve the Watchtower, obey the Watchtower, promote the Watchtower, give your money to the Watchtower, work for free for the Watchtower, and above all, be completely, without question, loyal to the Watchtower, might have everlasting life. Oh my goodness, did I read into that scripture? For God
I believe you did.
I think I did too. For God loved the world so much that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever should believe in him might not perish but have everlasting life. The only thing we were ever asked to do was to come to Jesus. And I'm not supposed to preach because this is Six Screen Saturday, but it is in the New World Translation. All God ever said is, this is my Son, listen to him. All Jesus said was, come to me. And if you follow me, you'll know the truth and you'll have peace. But what if we do? We got tricked, just like Eve. Is it really so that God has said you must not eat of the tree of life and whatever? You know, they just reason with you and they take over your mind and then you're trapped. And then, like you, we wake up and how do we get out? You don't have to be afraid. You don't. Can I name you or can you give me a name to call you? I want to call you Mary. What can I call you? Nancy May? Roosevelt? You sound like you need people that are here to support
No,
you. We can support
I am a guy, actually.
You're a what, dear?
A guy, actually.
Well, I apologize. Some people have a higher voice. Hi, bye. Okay,
I get that a lot. We'll talk tomorrow.
Okay, well, there will be a Six Screen Sunday. Remember, we have different shows, so feel free to call in and comment.
Hi, Anne-Marie.
Hi. Did you want to talk to Guy?
Harry.
Speak up. And voice it.
I'm sorry. I'm listening.
Okay, good. I was just going to say that sometimes.
No, I think she's talking to you, dear.
Yeah, I'm talking to you, hon. Sometimes when we wake up and we're still in a situation where we can't leave because we have family, in that kind of a situation, what I would suggest is take hold of your own personal relationship with God and hold on to that. And that way you're going to have some peace because they're not dictating that personal relationship. They won't have control over that part. So hold on to that in the situation. And I think that it will help you be able to cope with your other family members and in your situation. My mom is still a witness, and I have to respect her beliefs, and that's okay because it gives her. But even when I was young, I held on to my relationship with God, and I felt no man could get in between that. And I wanted to share that with you because I feel your pain. And just let time go by. Let the time go by, and see how God guides you. Because if you pray and you ask, He'll give you the guidance. and you're still going to be able to strengthen yourself spiritually, even in that situation. Because I kind of get the idea that you can't change anything at this moment. So strengthen that relationship. And anyway, I just wanted to speak up. Thank you, Anne-Marie, for letting me speak up.
No, thank you so much for your kind words. It's so hard. We never know when someone's going to call in, and sometimes we have to adjust our sails a little bit. Guy, did you hear what that sister was saying? You know, I'm just glad you called, Guy. We want you to know that you are very welcome. Now, there is a lovely, lovely lady that comes on after all of the shows. Her name is Linda James Apostolate, and she's, I don't know, I kind of call her the angel of the nighttime airwaves. She kind of is there for anyone who wants to talk, who needs to have a kind voice listen. She's very practical, very understanding, and she pretty much goes all night long. So if you want to call back or stay on the line, there are several more shows to do. I don't even know if we're out of time. Are we out of time, Rick? No, not quite.
Look for my playlist on YouTube. It's called Bethel Layoff.
Bethel can you say the last part, please?
Bethel Layoffs. Layofff. It's a playlist.
Kind of like F-off. Okay, I love it. Bethel Layoffs. Wow, that's pretty good. Okay. Well, Guy, I hope you don't mind me calling you Guy, because that's one of my favorite Guy names, and you said you're a Guy. I'm just so glad you came in, and I hope you don't hang up, but if you do what feels comfortable for you. That's the whole thing, you know, it's no rules or expectations. Does anybody else want to speak to Guy or have a comment or something they want to share?
I will say one thing. I do hope this circuit overseer arrangement abolished for good. Plus, I would like to see all the assembly halls get sold off for good and Bethel branches worldwide closed for good. That is my wish.
And why is that your wish, dear?
Hold on one second, Anne-Marie. This is Rick at the Control Center. Hey, Guy, just for, you can help us a lot. I believe you have YouTube going in the background. Could you shut that off so we can hear you better? There's a lot of background noise.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, then we'll be
Oh, thank you. That's so much better. That was the trouble I was having in the beginning. I was like, if you're going to talk, otherwise mute yourself. Thank you, Rick. Go ahead, Guy. What were you saying? I was wondering why do you wish all of their properties would be sold and closed?
A long time ago, when I was really little, when I was really born, upstate New York was very polluted, and we weren't even allowed to go up to New York and New Jersey back then because it was so polluted. I was born in Kentucky, along somewhere on the Ohio River Valley, but we moved down here in Cape Coral in '88, or Florida in '88.
Okay, we're listening.
Another thing is, I had environmental allergies back when I was little too, and became allergic to perfume, cologne, and other strong fragrances. But now I'm 36. My health has improved somewhat, but still have the allergies and stuff.
So is that why you want all of the assembly halls and kingdom halls and all sold? And I'm trying to figure out what precipitated that. What's behind that passionate wish? Did something happen?
there are other factors. There are other factors, and I want to see Bethel's closed for good.
Yeah. Yeah, we've heard some stories about Bethel. I'm sure you have too. Well, I just wanted to give you an opportunity to share if you wanted to share a reason or whatever. I'm not trying to be nosy, and I'm not trying to push you into saying or sharing anything you don't want to, but I do want you to know that you are welcome to share. Because for you to feel so adamant and passionate about your wish, I have to assume that there is a precipitating reason.
You could contact me on my email.
Okay. So I'm not really an email person. Don't worry about that. But
Sorry.
please feel free to give it if you... No. I know it probably sounds weird. I just don't have the energy. And my husband's always on the computer anyway. But I just want you to know we're glad you called. And if you have anything else to share, that's fine. But just in case there is anybody else that wants to speak to you or to share something, I don't really know how much time we have, but Rick is very generous about giving us time if somebody needs to talk or if there's a conversation that's going. He doesn't like to cut people off. But is there anything else that you wanted to share with us? Because I'm hoping you don't leave us, Guy.
I don't know. That's all I can say for now, but maybe next time I'll explain everything.
No rush, and there's no expectation. I'm really glad you shared about the Bethel Layoff. Did you say that's your website, or is it a YouTube site, or what?
It's YouTube, and it's a playlist. Look for that.
Okay. I will do that. I'm writing that down. Okay. Thank you so much, Guy. I hope again that you call in, and whenever, just take a breath. I really am hoping you don't feel too much anxiety. You know, the enemy loves to make us feel like, oh my God, what have I done? What's going to happen to me? Oh, I used to have so much anxiety. I finally came to the conclusion, if it's negative and it doesn't serve me, it's not for me, and I ain't having none of it. It's not from the Lord. He doesn't give us anxiety. He doesn't give us fear. He doesn't give us guilt and shame. None of that. Those are tools of the devil as far as I'm concerned. But in this place, we may suffer from being shunned. We may have lost family and friends, but we have gained so much more. We finally have a forum, thanks to dear Rick Barron and his beautiful wife, Susan. We have a forum every Saturday and every other Sunday where we can come together in real time and share our truth. We can speak without fear. We can speak what we really think and not say, oh my God, what did I say? I'm going to get reported to the elders. And we can also share knowing that everyone listening is nodding their head up and down. We get it. We understand, my brother. We know exactly what you're talking about. You will always be listened to. You will always be understood. And you will always be supported. And I just want you to remember that, if nothing else. Okay, my brother?
Yeah, I stopped going to the meetings years ago.
Stop drinking that Kool-Aid, huh? Good for you.
And my last memorial was 2019, before the year before that COVID virus thing, going to the Kingdom Hall. And there's a lot I've learned from that pandemic about staying home and stuff. Gives us a lot to think about, so.
No doubt. A lot of people have said what you just said. It gave them the opportunity to think. They realized there was a lot to think about when they couldn't go to work and couldn't go to meetings. It was kind of like, wait, I think I actually have a brain that has gears, a little rusty, but they're turning. Yeah. Did certain things come up in your mind for you during the pandemic?
There are a number of things.
Okay. That was enlightening. I'm sure you had a lot going on. Sometimes it's that one thing that just like, what? Maybe it's something that we just took for granted that we believe, like Michael the Archangel is Jesus' name in heaven. I thought that made perfect sense to me. I don't know what your like what moment was, but
you are right about one thing. Child abuse is wrong in every way, shape, or form. Nobody should ever go into pedophilia.
Yeah, it's a pretty disgusting thing. You know, one thing that's common about, go ahead.
It's unnatural.
Kind of like the devil? Every satanic organization has child abuse and pedophilia. Every satanic organization. In fact, that's one of the hallmarks of a satanic organization. It's a sad truth.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
Well, it's the truth, and please don't be sorry to hear the truth, because the more we know, the more we can tell, because that's what this show and this platform is all about, telling the truth about the Watchtower, exposing them for what they are, and that's Ephesians 5:10-14. Expose them for what they are. That's why Rick worked so hard to provide this platform for us, so that people like you, Guy, can call in and share.
Right. And another thing, I do have a weakness.
Honey, I have never met anybody who didn't have a weakness.
It's going to shock.
Feel bad.
It's going to really shock you.
Okay, try me.
My weakness is a woman's butt. Middle-aged, full-grown, married women, the mother-like type. That's the problem I've been having since I was like 12, 13.
Oh, honey, it doesn't shock me at all. It doesn't shock me at all. Maybe somebody was really nice to you, and you know, things get imprinted on us, Guy. And it's usually when we're very young. It could be anything, and it doesn't shock me. I'm just afraid that maybe for some reason you might have some guilt and shame mixed with your what do you call it? Your thing, your weakness?
Yeah. I do not want to offend anyone or anything. Besides that, I would have to ask for your permission first. I'd rather do things with consent.
Well, if it's a question or whatever, go ahead. And if you're out of line or something's wrong, I'll just tell you. Let's hurry. We're running out of time. Let's go, baby. He's listening.
About the butt touching thing, do you think it's appropriate? Are you okay with it or no?
Okay, well, I'm not going to get into touching other people's, things. That's a whole nother thing. But, I think if you're in a relationship or if you have their permission, I think that's between you and the woman. That's just my personal thought.
And I never had a girlfriend either.
Oh, honey, I'm so sorry. You know, my brother, I told you, he has Asperger's, faithful in the Watchtower since he was a tiny child, and he's never had a girlfriend, and he's 60. I don't even know how old he is. He's in his 60s. It's heartbreaking to me. Yeah, Watchtower pretty much takes over everything. They're good at that. I hope that changes for you, because you sound like a wonderful person, and you're only 36?
Yes. Born March 8th.
Oh, wow. March 8th. My brother's born March 6th. So you're a Pisces, huh?
Yeah, Pisces, you're the tiger, too.
Oh. Listen, I need to ask Rick how we're doing on time, and I don't want you to go, but we do have to remember we have a schedule. Rick, how are we doing on time?
Well, Anne-Marie, why don't we go about 10 more minutes, Anne-Marie, and we'll be able to wrap it up? 10 more.
I'll let you go then.
You. Well, Guy, I hope you know that you do have 10 more minutes that Rick graciously gave you, because he doesn't want to brush you off either. I just needed to check in with Rick. Okay, is there anything else you want to say? Okay,
no.
I'm listening. Oh, okay. You probably feel a little worn out, huh?
Yeah, I'll go back to watching you. I'll go back to watching your program too.
Well, God bless you, my dear one. And just remember, we're here for you, okay? Will you remember that?
Anne-Marie.
Oh, bless your heart, honey. And I hope we hear from you tomorrow. We have a 6 Green Sunday. We only have it twice every other Sunday, about twice a month or so. And it's more where we can talk about spiritual. Yeah. So, sorry I threw all those scriptures at you, but I just wanted you to know that Jesus didn't die to give us religion to be under the yoke of any group of man. That's not what he died for. So, no, you're not worried about true religion. You take a break, because I know this has not been easy for you, but I really thank you for being so brave. And for taking the time to come along and sharing, okay?
I'll be all right.
Take a breath. Tell yourself you're a great guy. Okay? You are a good person, and God loves you. Okay? And welcome to the 6 Green family. You have a big family. You just don't know it yet. We're not here to judge you ever. Okay?
I appreciate that.
Well, we appreciate you guys.
All right.
Okay.
I'll let you go with your thing.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Ready to go to JW World News now, Rick?
No, we got about 6 more minutes to go, Anne-Marie. I know it's a little. We're just doing some cleanup here, so hang in there for about 6 more minutes.
Just double checking on my brother. Anybody care to comment on our sweet brother Guy? He struck me with his bravery. This young gentleman is a very, very brave man, and I think he has been through an emotional hell that most of us can't deal with. Because when you have what he has, there's a lot of loneliness in the sense of isolation involved. You know, it's not fun. You think you've had it hard, or we've had it hard. At least we have each other. Anybody go ahead. Don't listen right now. Hi, go ahead, dear.
Hi, this is Thomas Hudson, Lawrence, Kansas. Yeah, I just wonder.
Hello.
Hi, how are you doing, Anne-Marie? It's always such a pleasure to talk to you.
Oh, I'm doing well. How are you, my brother?
Not too bad. Pretty good. I wish I could go see Rick Barron and Susan. I'm getting a brand new vehicle from Norwood, Massachusetts. It's probably going to be next week. I couldn't find the one I was looking for in this area or any dealership all around here. So I went on the internet and I found this dealership could order one. It came in 3 months and 5 days, and they did the paperwork on it, and they've got the tag and registration from here at my courthouse. It's going to be able to probably pick it up sometime in another week. Unfortunately, my schedule is such that I can't get away. I would love to fly out there and bring it home, but go visit Rick and Susan first. And I feel bad because I can't do that. I really love to go visit them. I just wish I could.
Well,
you know?
I'll tell you, you'd be missing a really great treat if you can't see them. But I think sometime we will be able to. They are delightful.
Yeah.
They are just precious people.
That's right. Maybe
So
one of these
what you
days I
wanna
can fly
say?
out there or something.
So what do you want to share with us today, Thomas? We only have about 2.5 minutes left. What's up?
Yeah. Well, even more important, I just wanted to reach out to Guy and let him know that we really care about him, we love him, and we want to be there for him and pray for him that he'll heal and he'll not let this Watchtower organization pull him down no matter what they try to pull on him, that we are here for him in every way, that all he has to do is call in here or reach out to any one of us. And we really sympathize what the Watchtower's done to him, and I could only imagine what how they've treated him through the years, and knowing how they treat myself and many others. I just want to let him know that I wish we could be there for him. I mean, we'll be there for him in every way we can. And it was really good to hear it.
Well, Thomas, I thank you. Thank you for reaching it. Guy, I hope you're listening to what our dear brother Thomas said. He has a very loving heart. He sends you his love, his prayers, and his understanding and support, and his sadness for everything you've been through. And he's praying for the Lord to lift you up, for God to give you his strength, and letting you know, as I told you, you're part of the Six Screens family now. We all welcome you. Thank you very much, Thomas. Because one thing is the word. Yeah, you know how the Watchtower love to make us feel like if you leave us, you'll be all alone. You're not only going to die, but you're going to be all alone. They love that, but we're not.
A question real quick.
Go ahead, my brother. Hi, is this Randy?
Yes, it is.
What's up, Randy? What is it, my brother?
I'm wondering how, as Thomas didn't say, how he's getting this vehicle back to him, how he's getting his car back to him.
I assume he's going to drive it, but hey, Thomas, are you there?
No.
Randy has a question.
I meant to say that. I'm going to have it transported back here by a A1 company that said they put it on the top rack, and they have they're going to get their best driver, a flawless driver, supposedly. It has real good insurance and everything. So, yeah, I'm going to have them haul it back. But I wish I could go visit Rick and Susan. I just really, really hate that. He's done so much for us. The Six Screens.
Well, I heard you say that, so I wanted to throw an idea out there. Why not ask Rick and Susan about arranging for them to deliver it for you?
That's a good idea.
Then you could fly them back,
Yeah, that's true too.
Because if you get I've got another motive here, because if you get him up to your place, that gets Rick and Susan a lot closer to me.
Well, yeah, that might have a pretty good benefit all the way around. I know that'd be nice. One thing I'd hate to tie him up, but boy, that is something to think about. Really, it's a good suggestion.
Well, thanks.
I appreciate it.
Hey, Tom, 6% in Massachusetts. 6% sales tax in Massachusetts. Just so you know.
Yeah.
Is that Dick?
Yeah,
yes, it is.
I had to pay sales tax. I had to pay sales tax there because I bought it there. So yeah, I'd have to pay it back here if I didn't have proof. Of course, I could show them that easily they could see that. Well, I've already paid for my property tax back here. That's something that they collect before I have it delivered back here. That's quite a rigmarole. That's a 2 to 4 weeks, probably about 3 weeks altogether, just to get the title here, and to send it back to Massachusetts. See, I've got to have that tag and registration, everything before they bring it back. They're pretty particular about that. So,
Okay, let's wrap up and say our goodbyes to everybody because we are definitely out of time. But just as a side thought, I want to leave you guys with all this talk about seeing Rick and Susan and finding a way to get together and seeing Rick and Susan. You know what? I think we need to figure out a way to have some kind of a camp get together where we can all meet somewhere in some big outdoor place and camp together and have a big old bonfire. Hey, Rick. How we doing?
I'm right here, Anne Marie. I guess we can kind of do it. I guess we can end the program. So that was good. You had some new ones calling in. You had Guy, but there was also two others that called in, I believe, that were brand new too.
Oh, I don't remember. I'm so messed up. But great show. So glad for people knowing, just the idea that people know they can call in even if they're scared. That says a lot for your platform, Rick. Thank you so much, Rick. Thank you, everyone, for calling in. And let's look forward to Rick Barron and sharing the JW World News.
Well, hello, everyone. And boy, that was a good program Anne Marie had. And we want to give our best wishes to Guy that called in. That was amazing, calling in here for the first time. So we really appreciate that, Guy. Don't you be a stranger. Always good to hear from new people. Well, we're going to be ending this program, and we're going to be starting JW World News. That's coming up next right here on the 6 screens. Hey, we have a full night of activity. We've got JW World News up next. That goes to 9:30. And then we're going to do a special heart-to-heart program with Dan and Angela Clark. They'll be coming on tonight around 9:30. So we're looking forward to them coming on and being with us. And then around 11 o'clock, we go to Apasta Babe out in Southern California. And Apasta Babe will be burning the midnight oil tonight. So if you guys can't sleep and you're pacing the floors and you don't know what to do, come on in and listen to Apasta Babe. She's your favorite apostate, Linda James, tonight around 11 o'clock. So we're going to end the program right now here on YouTube, but we'll be back in just a couple of minutes. So don't go anywhere. Just stay with YouTube. And all of our programs tonight will be on YouTube. So let's end this right now.